Classic waffles. Nutrition facts per serving: 370 calories, 16.2 grams of fat, 47.6 grams carbohydrates, 10.2 grams of protein, 110 milligrams of cholesterol, and 893 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 2 eggs, 1½ cups of warm milk, 1/3 cup of butter melted, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Instruction: Number 1. In a bowl, mix together flour, salt, baking powder, sugar, and set aside. Preheat waffle iron to desired temperature. Number 2. In a separate bowl, beat the eggs. Stir in the milk, butter, and vanilla. Pour the milk mixture into the flour mixture. Ladle the batter into a preheated waffle iron. Cook the waffles until golden and crisp. Serve hot. Number 2. Simple waffles. Nutrition facts per serving: 382 calories, 21.6 grams of fat, 38 grams of carbohydrates, 8.7 grams of protein, 68 milligrams of cholesterol, 390 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 eggs, 2 cups all-purpose flour, 1 3/4 cups of milk, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon of white sugar, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Instruction: Number 1. Preheat waffle iron. Beat eggs in a bowl with hand beater until fluffy. Beat in flour, milk, vegetable oil, sugar, baking powder, and vanilla until smooth. Spray preheated waffle iron with non-stick cooking spray. Pour mix onto hot waffle iron. Cook until golden brown and serve hot. Number 3. Belgian Waffles. Nutrition facts per serving: 490 calories, 21.4 grams of fat, 65.3 grams of carbohydrates, 12.3 grams of protein, 120 milligrams of cholesterol, 616 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 1 package of active dry yeast, 1/4 cup of warm milk, 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 degrees Celsius, 3/4 cup of butter, melted and cooled to lukewarm, 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1½ teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 egg whites. Instruction: Number 1. In a bowl, dissolve yeast in 1/4 cup of warm milk. Let stand until creamy for about 9 to 11 minutes. Number 2. In a big bowl, whisk together the egg yolks, 1/4 cup of the warm milk, and the melted butter. Stir in the yeast mixture, sugar, salt, and vanilla. Stir in the remaining 2½ cups of milk alternately with the flour, ending with the flour. Beat the egg whites until they form soft peaks, then fold into the batter. Cover the bowl tightly with plastic wrap. Let rise in a warm place until doubled in volume for about 50 to 60 minutes. Number 3. Preheat the waffle iron. Brush with oil and spoon for about ½ a cup, or as recommended by manufacturer, onto center of iron. Close the lid and bake until it stops steaming and the waffle is golden brown. Serve hot. Number 4. Cinnamon Belgian Waffles. Nutrition facts per serving: 350 calories, 19.4 grams of fat, 39.3 grams of carbohydrates, 11.4 grams of protein, 171 milligrams of cholesterol, 801 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 egg yolks, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 cup of buttermilk, 1/4 cup of butter, melted, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, a ½ tablespoon of white sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 egg whites, 1 pinch of ground cinnamon. Instruction: Number 1. Preheat your waffle iron. Number 2. In a bowl, whisk together the eggs, vanilla, buttermilk, butter until well blended. Combine the flour, baking powder, baking soda, sugar, salt, cinnamon, then stir into the buttermilk mixture. In a separate bowl, whip the egg whites with an electric mixer until stiff. Fold into the batter. Number 3. Spoon batter onto the hot waffle iron. Close, then cook until golden brown. Waffles are done when the steam subsides. Number 5. Pumpkin waffles with apple syrup. Nutrition facts per serving: 505 calories, 17.1 grams of fat, 80.3 grams of carbohydrates, 10 grams of protein, 144 milligrams of cholesterol, 700 milligrams of sodium, 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground allspice, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, a ½ teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, 1 cup of canned pumpkin, 2 cups of milk, 4 eggs separated, a 1/4 cup of butter melted. Apple syrup, a ½ cup of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 cup of apple cider, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of butter. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Combine the flour, baking powder, cinnamon, allspice, ginger, salt, brown sugar, in a mixing bowl. In a separate bowl, stir together the pumpkin, milk, egg yolks. Whip the egg whites in a clean, dry bowl until soft peaks form. 4. Stir the flour mixture and 1/4 cup of melted butter to the pumpkin mixture, stirring just to combine. Use a whisk or rubber spatula to fold 1/3 of the egg whites into the batter, stirring gently until incorporated. Fold in the remaining egg whites. Cook waffles according to manufacturer's instructions. 5. To make the syrup, stir together the sugar, cornstarch, cinnamon in a saucepan. Then stir in the apple cider and lemon juice. Cook over medium heat until mixture begins to boil, and boil until the syrup thickens. Remove from heat and stir in the 2 tablespoons of butter until melted. Number 6. Cinnamon Pumpkin Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 460 calories, 460 calories, 25 grams of fat, 53.9 grams of carbohydrates, 11.5 grams of protein, 60 milligrams of cholesterol, 706 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 1 cup of whole wheat flour, 1/4 cup of wheat germ, 1/3 cup of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1/3 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of pumpkin puree, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1/2 cup of unsweetened applesauce, whole egg, 1 egg white, 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. Combine flour, wheat germ, sugar, cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, nutmeg, salt, baking powder in a bowl, then set aside. 2. Beat together milk, pumpkin puree, butter, oil, applesauce, whole egg, egg white. Whole egg, egg white. Stir flour mixture into the pumpkin mixture along with the pecans. 3. Ladle the batter onto the preheated waffle iron. Cook the waffles until golden and crisp for about 5 to 6 minutes. 7. Anna's Belgian Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 440 calories, 19 grams of fat, 57.2 grams of carbohydrates, 10.6 grams of protein, 110 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,275 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 egg yolks, 5 tablespoons of white sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of butter, melted, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 3/4 cups of self-rising flour, 2 cups of warm milk, 2 egg whites. Instruction: 1. In a bowl, beat together egg yolks and sugar. Beat in a vanilla extract, butter, salt. Alternately mix in flour and milk until blended well. 2. In a separate bowl, beat egg whites until they have formed soft peaks. Fold egg whites into batter and let stand for about 40 to 45 minutes. 3. Spray preheated waffle iron with non-stick cooking spray. Pour mix onto hot waffle iron. Cook until golden brown and fluffy. Serve hot. Number 8. Norwegian Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 350 calories, 14.6 grams of fat, 48.2 grams of carbohydrates, 11.5 grams of protein, 100 milligrams of cholesterol, 950 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 3 tablespoons of melted shortening, 1 3/4 cups of milk, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron. 2. Beat together eggs and sugar with an electric mixture until fluffy. Pour in shortening, milk, salt, vanilla, then mix until well blended. Sift together the flour and baking powder. Mix the flour into the liquid. 3. Spoon 2/3 cup of batter onto the preheated waffle iron at a time. Close the iron and cook until steam is no longer coming out and waffle is browned. Serve hot. Number 9. Deluxe Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 390 calories, 22.7 grams of fat, 41.6 grams of carbohydrates, 10.2 grams of protein, 141 milligrams of cholesterol, 675 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of white sugar, 4 egg yolks, 4 egg whites, 1 1/4 cups of milk, a half cup of vegetable oil. Instruction: 1. In a bowl, sift together the flour, baking powder, salt, sugar. Make a well in the center of the bowl. 2. In a separate bowl, mix together the egg yolks, milk, oil. Pour into well of flour mixture and stir well. Stir just until ingredients are moistened. 3. In a little bowl, beat egg whites until stiff. Fold into batter. 4. Cook batter in waffle iron. Serve hot. Number 10. Mom's Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 390 calories, 12.3 grams of fat, 60.3 grams of carbohydrates, 10.6 grams of protein, 100 milligrams of cholesterol, 838 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of milk, 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Instruction: 1. In a bowl, stir together flour, baking powder, sugar, salt. Add milk, eggs, and oil, then mix well. 2. Spray preheated waffle iron with non-stick cooking spray. Pour mix onto hot waffle iron. Cook until golden brown. Serve hot. 11. Natalies Cinnamon Waffles. Nutrition facts: per serving, 140 calories, 6.7 grams of fat, 21.1 grams of carbohydrates, 2.1 grams of protein, 2 milligrams of cholesterol, 150 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 cups all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of white sugar, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 2.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 3/4 cups of milk, a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 egg whites, cooking spray. Instruction: 1. Whisk flour, white sugar, brown sugar, cinnamon, baking powder, and salt together in a bowl until no lumps remain. 2. Pour milk, vegetable oil, vanilla extract into the flour mixture, then stir until just combined. 3. Beat egg whites until foamy in a big glass or metal mixing bowl until soft peaks form. Lift your beater or whisk straight up, and the egg whites will form soft mounds rather than a sharp peak. 4. Fold the beaten egg whites into the batter. 5. Preheat a waffle iron and coat with cooking spray. 6. Pour batter onto waffle iron in batches, then cook until crisp and golden brown for about 2 minutes, and repeat until all batter is used. Serve. Number 12. Rice waffles. Nutrition facts: per serving, 610 calories, 30.4 grams of fat, 70.6 grams of carbohydrates, 9.8 grams of protein, 90 milligrams of cholesterol, 450 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 eggs, separated, 1 3/4 cups of rice milk, 1 cup of rice flour, a 3/4 cup of modified tapioca starch, a 1/2 cup of granola oil, a 1/4 cup of almond meal, 1 tablespoon of white sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, a quarter teaspoon of salt, cooking spray. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Beat egg whites in a glass, metal, or ceramic bowl with an electric mixer until stiff peaks form. 3. Mix egg yolks in a separate bowl using a hand beater. Beat in rice milk, rice flour, tapioca starch, oil, almond meal, sugar, baking powder, vanilla extract, and salt until smooth. Fold in stiff egg whites. 4. Spray the preheated waffle iron with cooking spray. Cook waffles until golden brown and the iron stops steaming, for about 5 minutes per waffle. Number 13. Cornmeal Waffles. Nutrition facts: per serving, 210 calories, 9.4 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbohydrates, 5.6 grams of protein, 45 milligrams of cholesterol, 495 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 egg whites, 1 cup all-purpose flour, 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of white sugar, a half teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of buttermilk, a 1/4 cup of canola oil, 2 egg yolks. Instruction: 1. Preheat waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Beat egg whites in a glass or metal bowl using an electric mixer on high until stiff peaks form. Lift your beater or whisk straight up, and the egg whites will form sharp peaks. 3. Whisk flour, cornmeal, chia seeds, baking powder, baking soda, white sugar, and salt together in a bowl. Whisk buttermilk, canola oil, and egg yolks together in a separate bowl. Stir into flour mixture until batter is smooth. Gently fold egg whites into batter until just mixed. 4. Pour about a 1/4 cup of batter into preheated waffle iron. Then cook according to manufacturer's instructions until golden brown for about 5 minutes. Repeat with remaining batter. Serve hot. Number 14. Sweet potato waffles. Nutrition facts: per serving, 150 calories, 6.5 grams of fat, 23.2 grams of carbohydrates, 5.1 grams of protein, 59 milligrams of cholesterol, 270 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 1 sweet potato, 1 cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a 1/4 cup teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 cups of milk, 2 eggs, 3 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of lime juice, a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, a half teaspoon of grated lime zest. Instruction: 1. Pierce a sweet potato with a fork and place in a microwave-safe bowl. Then heat in microwave until tender for about 6 to 10 minutes. Cool and measure out a 3/4 cup of sweet potatoes, reserving the rest for another use. 2. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 3. Combine flour, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt together in a bowl. 4. Mix sweet potato, eggs, melted butter, brown sugar, lime juice, vanilla extract, and grated lime zest together in a bowl. Pour sweet potato mixture into the flour mixture, then stir until batter is smooth. 5. Spoon batter into the waffle iron and cook according to manufacturer's instructions until golden brown for about 5 minutes. Repeat with remaining batter. Serve hot. Number 15. Wheat-free apple waffles. Nutrition facts: per serving, 400 calories, 26.2 grams of fat, 39.3 grams of carbohydrates, 11 grams of protein, 70 milligrams of cholesterol, 370 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 eggs, separated, 1 3/4 cups of whole spelt flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 3/4 cups of soy milk, 1 apple, cored, peeled, and shredded, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Instruction: preheat and grease a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Beat egg whites in a glass or metal bowl until foamy and stiff peaks form. Lift your beater or whisk straight up, and the egg whites will form sharp peaks. 3. Mix spelt flour, baking powder, salt, and cinnamon together in a bowl. Then whisk egg yolks, soy milk, apple, and vegetable oil together in a separate bowl and pour into flour mixture. Stir to combine. Fold egg whites into batter, leaving some clumps. 4. Pour about 1 cup batter into waffle iron. Then cook until golden brown and crispy for about 6 to 10 minutes. Repeat with remaining batter. Number 16. Waffle sandwich with cheese. Nutrition facts: per serving, 270 calories, 14.3 grams of fat, 24.2 grams of carbohydrates, 18.6 grams of protein, 51 milligrams of cholesterol, 642 milligrams of sodium. 642 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 1 Roma plum tomato, thinly sliced. Salt and ground black pepper to taste. 2 teaspoons of butter, softened. 4 thickly sliced pieces of multigrain bread. 1 teaspoon of spicy brown mustard, 1 cup of fresh spinach or to taste, 4 slices of part skim mozzarella cheese, 2 teaspoons of chopped sweet onion. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Arrange tomato slices on a work surface, pouring off any excess juice. Season tomato slices with salt and pepper. 3. Spread a half teaspoon of butter onto one side of each bread slice. Lay 1 bread slice, butter side down, in the hot waffle iron. Spread a half teaspoon of spinach. Spread a half teaspoon of mustard onto bread slice in waffle iron. Top with a half cup of spinach, 2 slices of mozzarella cheese, 1 teaspoon onion, 1 teaspoon of onion, half the tomato slices, a 1/4 cup of spinach, respectively. Lay 1 slice bread, butter side up, atop the spinach layer. 4. Close waffle iron and toast sandwich until lightly browned for about 2 minutes. Repeat with remaining ingredients. Number 17. Green waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 40 calories, 3 grams of fat, 4.2 grams of carbohydrates, 2.4 grams of protein, 45 milligrams of cholesterol, 50 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 3 cups of shredded zucchini, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 pinch of salt, a half cup of dry potato flakes, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Mix zucchini, eggs, vegetable oil, onion powder, and salt together in a bowl. Stir in potato flakes and baking powder. Then mix until batter is combined. 3. Pour a half cup of the batter onto the center of the waffle iron. Close the lid and cook until iron stops steaming and waffle is crisp for about 5 minutes. Number 18. Gluten-free waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 250 calories, 18.5 grams of fat, 22.6 grams of carbohydrates, 7.7 grams of protein, 75 milligrams of cholesterol, 790 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 1 1/3 cups of milk, 1 cup of buckwheat flour, 1 cup of almond flour, a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt. Instructions: preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Stir milk, buckwheat, almond flour, vegetable oil, eggs, baking powder, sugar, and salt together in a bowl until batter is smooth. 3. Working in batches, ladle batter into preheated waffle iron, then cook until waffles are golden and crisp for about 3 to 5 minutes. Number 19. Chocolate chip waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 400 calories, 27.4 grams of fat, 42.6 grams of carbohydrates, 4.4 grams of protein, 0 milligrams of cholesterol, 710 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 1 cup of bread flour, 1 cup of oat flour, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a half teaspoon of salt, a 2/3 cup of unsweetened almond milk, a half cup of unsweetened applesauce, a 1/3 cup of coconut oil, melted, a half cup of chocolate chips. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Whisk bread flour, oat flour, sugar, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt together in a bowl. Mix almond milk, applesauce, coconut oil together in a separate bowl, then stir into flour mixtures until batter is just combined. Fold chocolate chips into batter and let stand for about 5 minutes. 3. Scoop a 1/4 to a half cup of batter into preheated waffle iron, then cook according to manufacturer's instructions for about 4 minutes per waffle. Number 20. Coryn Oatmeal Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 390 calories, 14.9 grams of fat, 54.5 grams of carbohydrates, 11.1 grams of protein, 60 milligrams of cholesterol, 390 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: cooking spray, 2 1/4 cups of rolled oats, 1 cup of rice flour, a half cup of cornmeal, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 cups of soy milk, 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of oil, 2 eggs. Instruction: 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions and spray the inside with cooking spray. 2. Mix oats, rice flour, cornmeal, baking powder together in a bowl. Stir soy milk, eggs, and oil together in a separate bowl. Then add to oats mixture and stir until batter is just combined. 3. Pour 1 cup of batter into the preheated waffle iron and cook according to manufacturer's instructions until lightly browned for about 4 minutes. Repeat with remaining batter. Serve hot. Number 21. Sunday Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 370 calories, 27 grams of fat, 27.5 grams of carbohydrates, 8.6 grams of protein, 153 milligrams of cholesterol, 750 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of milk, 4 eggs, separated, 1 cup of melted butter. Instruction 1. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions. 2. Sift flour, baking powder, and salt together in a bowl. Whisk milk and egg yolks together in a separate bowl. Beat egg whites in a separate bowl using an electric mixer until stiff peaks form. Stir egg yolk mixture into flour mixture just until batter is moistened. Stir butter into batter and fold in egg whites. 3. Ladle about 1/4 cup of batter into preheated waffle iron. Then cook according to manufacturer's instructions until golden for about 5 minutes. Then repeat with remaining batter. Number 22. Fluffy Buttermilk Waffles. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 240 calories, 13.5 grams of fat, 28.5 grams of carbohydrates, 6 grams of protein, 56 milligrams of cholesterol, 200 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, 5 tablespoons of powdered buttermilk, 1¼ teaspoons of baking powder, a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup of milk, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, 2 egg yolks, a 1/4 cup of butter, melted, 2 egg whites, 1 cup of miniature semi-sweet chocolate chips. Instruction 1. In a bowl, mix the flour, powdered buttermilk, baking powder, and baking soda. In a separate bowl, whip the cream using an electric mixer. Then stir in milk, egg yolks, and melted butter. Stir the milk mixture into the dry ingredients until smooth. In a clean glass or metal bowl, whip egg whites to stiff peaks. Fold the egg whites and chocolate chips into the batter using a rubber spatula or wooden spoon. 2. Preheat a waffle iron and coat with cooking spray. Then cook until there is no longer steam coming out and the waffles are light brown. Number 23. Chicken in a waffle. Nutrition facts. Per serving, 470 calories, 27.5 grams of fat, 40.6 grams of carbohydrates, 19.7 grams of protein, 100 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,140 milligrams of sodium. Ingredients: 24 frozen chicken nuggets, cooking spray, 1¼ cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of cornmeal, 1½ teaspoons of white sugar, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a ½ teaspoon of ground black pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 3/4 cups of buttermilk, a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, 2 eggs, beaten, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Instructions: 1. Preheat oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. Spread chicken nuggets out on a baking sheet. 2. Bake nuggets in the preheated oven until hot and crispy for about 10 to 13 minutes. 3. Preheat a waffle iron according to manufacturer's instructions and lightly coat with cooking spray. 4. Whisk flour, cornmeal, sugar, baking powder, salt, baking soda, black pepper, cayenne pepper together in a bowl. Whisk buttermilk, oil, and eggs together in another bowl. Pour buttermilk mixture into flour mixture and stir until batter is just combined. 5. Place one chicken nugget in the center of each waffle section on the waffle iron. Cover each nugget with about 1 tablespoon of batter, close the waffle iron, and cook until golden and crisp for about 4 to 5 minutes. Repeat with remaining nuggets and batter.